Good day, and welcome to Natural Health Dialogue. Have you ever been driven down a freeway through the farmlands and you see a field of green and you wonder what that is? Sometimes it'll tell you, but some of the times you see that it's going to be alfalfa. And we think about that as maybe food for animals or what have you, but there's actually more to it, of course, and naturopathic Dr. Kim Anderson is going to dive deep on the simple called alfalfa.
Hey, Joseph. I remember the very first time it was an elderly client that I had, and I recommended alfalfa, and he said, "Are you talking about the hay for cows?" That's the only context that he had ever heard of that. So I had to laugh about that. But one of the same reasons that alfalfa is good for people is for the same reason that it's good for cattle. It's because it's very nutritious, and that was why I had recommended it to my elderly client because it's what we refer to as a nutritive. It is very rich in minerals and in vitamins, in particular vitamins A, vitamin C, and vitamin K. So I really like this simple alfalfa. Like I said, as a nutritive, it nourishes. In fact, that is just a little tidbit about myself. Nourish is one of my favorite words. And so I really like any product, any natural health, any herbal that's going to help nourish our bodies and help it to function the way that it was designed to function. And alfalfa is one of those that I really find myself recommending a lot. In fact, if someone comes to me and says, "Would you look at this product for me?" Whether it be a meal replacement or an herbal combination, if I see alfalfa in that listing, I know this is going to be a pretty good product for nourishing, unless it's just an overall poor product, from a company that we really wouldn't want to buy from. But alfalfa is just one of those that I look for a lot in anything that I'm going to recommend for nourishment. Another time that I may use alfalfa is in low iron issues. Whatever may be the reason that someone is low on iron, I like alfalfa for that. It is rich in minerals, and iron is one of those minerals that it's very rich in. And taking alfalfa helps boost that iron level without the harsh side effects that can come from other iron supplements. So I really like it for that.
When you say taking alfalfa, does that mean we could grow some in our backyard and just sort of snip it off with scissors and drop it in our salad, or what?
That would be very nice, wouldn't it? But in fact, we really don't have the digestive system to be nibbling around on the alfalfa the way that we see livestock do. We really need it in the capsules. So we can't digest it. Cattle can actually it's actually an energy source for them. They can get calories from it. We don't have the ability to digest it like that. But capsules or even a liquid supplement would be very good and very beneficial. And we will get not so much the calories or an energy source from it, but we will get those nourishing minerals or vitamins from it. So, yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because we certainly don't want to be nibbling around on alfalfa. So, and even alfalfa, there's some sprouts that some people can use. You can get some nourishment from that. You do want to be careful. Anyone who has lupus or any kind of autoimmune, you kind of want to be careful about that. Even the supplements, you want to be careful. So even though I really like alfalfa in general, there are some cases that I would be reluctant to recommend it. So again, working with a good health practitioner about whether that's going to be something good for you would be wise. But otherwise, I just think that it's a really, really good herb to have on hand for nourishing. And another circumstance that I would recommend alfalfa is after surgery when we're needing a little extra nourishment. I like it for that. Or even, convalescing after a long illness or something. It's a little extra nourishment during those times as well. Perfect for the elderly, like the elderly gentleman that wanted to make sure that he was not going to be nibbling on his livestock diet.
Right.
So I do think it's a really good and gentle nutritive for the elderly as well. Another thing that I really like it for is hormonal balance. It particularly has an affinity for the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is considered the master gland, and that's for a very good reason. It's located at the base of the skull. and it receives messages from the brain. And once it receives those messages, it then secretes hormones to help to other glands in the endocrine system so that they produce the hormones that they need. So we're very much dependent on, we want to follow that all the way back to the pituitary gland and make sure that it has good nourishment. So that's a good place for any hormonal imbalances or anything like that. Pituitary gland is a good place to nourish. And again, working with the health practitioner on, finding those hormonal balances. I think alfalfa is very good for that, to help nourish the pituitary gland. This gland is responsible for processes such as growth in children, our body temperature, our thyroid activity. It's amazing the health issues that we can have just when our thyroid is not functioning well. So again, tracing it right back to that pituitary gland and supporting it.
It's interesting. The last episode, we talked with naturopathic Dr. Randy Lee about the glandular system.
Yes.
And he mentioned the pituitary. So this is kind of fitting in hand in glove.
Exactly. Here. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I chose alfalfa for this series, was to complement Dr. Lee's article on the endocrine system, because I do think it is so good. Again, it's that nutritive. It's going to help nourish. It helps boost the iron, but it helps support that pituitary gland, which is connected to, it is so important. It's the boss, if you will, of the other glands. So alfalfa is just a really good way to support the pituitary gland. So any kind of endocrine issues, again, working with a health practitioner to kind of focus in on that. But in my practice with my clients, alfalfa is something that I would recommend regularly, and of course, those contraindications that I mentioned earlier that we want to be careful about.
Right. Okay. And so in what way specifically is alfalfa good for the elderly? You mentioned that.
Again, it is that nutritive, that good nutrition. So as we get older, it is harder digestion. As we get older, we don't make the hydrochloric acid like we do in our younger years. And so again, this is, appetite may be suppressed. As we get older, I have a lot of elderly clients that they just don't have the appetite that they once had. So they're not getting in the nutrition that they need. So again, having that alfalfa as a supplement, I wouldn't necessarily use it as a multivitamin. I don't think it's complete like that, but I do think that there's a lot of the minerals that we need. We talk so much about vitamin deficiencies, but minerals are something that we really miss or are deficient in more so than vitamins. So again, I like that alfalfa is rich in these minerals. It is the supplements are easy for the elderly to digest, so they can get some good nutrition, helps increase the appetite so that, they want to take in more of your macros, your carbohydrates and proteins and fats. So again, I think that having good nutrition is going to be key. Healing, our healing process, not just for the elderly, but everyone in general, having a good nutrition is going to help that healing process. Alfalfa is considered a superfood, and according to registered herbalist Stephen Horn, superfood is a term applied to nutritionally dense foods that have that medicinal value to it as well. So again, alfalfa is something that I look for whenever I'm looking at herbal supplements or meal replacements. I like to see if that alfalfa is in there.
Excellent. All right. So the next time you see a cow in a field nibbling, think about alfalfa, right? And all the health benefits that you just learned.
Yes, it sure does.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim, for that. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.